AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Cassie Spazzali.
Oh, look what you made me do. Look what you made me do.
Musso. And Mr. Toby Tom Plate. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Every single Tuesday, we get a chance to visit with our buddy Sean Salisbury. Man, there's so much to dive into today. Sean, appreciate you as always, man. How are you?
No problem. I'm doing good, Matt. How are you, buddy?
I'm awesome. I want to start on the college side today. We'll get to the NFL in our second segment, but in particular because in the last 24 hours, there have been this sort of flood of quarterbacks that have gone into the portal, and we know LSU is going to be quarterback hunting in the portal. And the guy that I think is the most interesting, if it gets past the two Ole Miss guys, would be DJ Lagway. So I'm told that Lane Kiffin actually thinks very highly of DJ Lagway. Someone we've talked about here before because you've known him since he was in high school. If you would, give me your thumbnail on what you think has gone wrong for Lagway during his 2 years in Gainesville.
Well, I think they were a very average team. And, I think that, and I've always put this on them to speak out of both sides of my mouth, unfortunately, is that great quarterbacks make the guys around him better. And I think at times he did. I think he was hampered by being banged up. And going back to his freshman year when he was discovered and everybody, oh my gosh, and it was a highly recruited kid, from this area and, not too far from me here in Houston. The first thing I noticed about him when I first met him, and that has not changed, is phenomenal character kid. Now, you don't know what goes on every single day or in their mind, but he treated everybody on the field the same. He had 2 ears and one mouth, and he used them accordingly until, he needed to speak. And was pretty precise and dynamic in everything he did. Truthfully, Matty, when I was with him, this was like going into I believe it was his junior year. He was just coming out of a sophomore year. He stuck out. I'm always looking for wow factor on guys like that. When you first get there and people tell you who the guys are that are getting heavily recruited. And I had the high school guys, the quarterbacks, about 15 of them. After warm-up and after one drill and throwing one-on-one, routes on air, should I say, before one-on-one. I did. I went up to the director of the camp, and they said, what do you think? And I said, he's the best player we have. And that was before we got into 7-on-7 live drills. When I said best player, I meant at the time the most impressive so far, big body. And as it's, if he had a really good high school career, as well witnessed by all those who recruited him. One thing I've never seen him waffle on. Now, we can get into a should he transfer, should he not, the comfort level with coaches and the system and having to impress a new coach. I get all that now. 10 years ago, I would have said, sit there and compete, join the new. But we've changed, man. We got to adapt and adjust and get out of our, old head stuff sometimes because the recruiting, what it's done to set college football on its ear. But there was nothing I didn't like about him. Gentleman, good player. Now, I wasn't involved. I've talked to other people about the leadership, and they seem to admire his leadership. I just saw him in a very calm, competitive, calm way, but he didn't miss much. I think the injuries, I think the team he's on, And, I know Billy is the head coach and calling plays there, but the question, how much good teaching, and Ryan, who was also the coordinator there, who called plays when Billy wasn't calling plays at the end of the season. He's a guy I worked with at camps with as well. And I think with him more would have also helped DJ. But there's not much to dislike about him. You're going to get a good kid who players will rally around. But injuries and probably being in a position this year at times with expectations and understanding the schedule and being fully, not fully healthy the whole time, is that he, I think, tried to be a little bit of a hero at times and gets him in trouble. He can make every throw. If I'm Lane Kiffin, there's going to be people standing in line, just like there are for Sam Levitt, just like they will be from Ole Miss's guys and a few others. Maybe Raiola's involved in this as well, Cincinnati's, quarterback. So there'll be a lot to choose from, and LSU is a top place to go because you're going to sell the Burrow times, and you're going to sell a quarterback whisperer and guru and great offensive coach in Lane Kiffin. What's not to like? So I would get it, but he's also probably going to go to a place that's comfortable and that's his gig when he goes in, and that'll be a lot of places. But he's not afraid to compete, and I think he has something to prove after what happened this past year.
There's some people suggesting Baylor would be there in the state of Texas, maybe get out of the SEC. But would it? He
was getting recruited heavily by all those schools when he was coming out, and you only choose one then. But rarely are we saying you only play at one now. So yeah, that could be a place too. It just depends on what he wants to do and how competitive he wants to be, and if he wants to prove to the SEC something. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Matty.
No, please. People want to hear you, not me. I was just going to ask how you think Lagway would fit in what Kiffin asks of his quarterbacks.
I would think Lane would have to adjust a little bit. The one thing is we've talked about with Leach in the past and the group that does, everybody now. You want to at least have the perception and at times mix it in, the built-in run. Not just the scramble run, but the built-in run used efficiently. Now, he did it in high school. He ran the football some. Now, in Florida, some scramble runs, but you're not going to get the same RPO as you would at a guy who maybe is a straight line 4.48 guy or 4.5 guy. Maybe an adjustment there. But Lane's really good. We always talk about quarterback strengths. When I'm training them or if I'm evaluating them or I'm going to look, if I was a coach trying to bring them in, I want to find out also what they don't do well. One is to work on it and to grind on it so it's not a weakness or a perceived weakness from defense or something you're not comfortable with. But two is to close the gap so I know as a play caller and as a coach what to stay away from. That doesn't mean you're because he's good enough with bandwidth, but you're going to get a thrower first, a runner second, which I always love more. I don't remember the last time the number one team in the country has a guy that runs second, throws first in Indiana. And he'll probably be the first pick of the draft or at least the first quarterback taken. You can go around. The team who wins the national title is not going to have a guy who runs first, throws second. I'm just telling you it's not going to happen. Because if you can't beat people from that pocket and then extend, Joe Burrow, LSU's used to that. Breeze wasn't an escape guy. You got to be able to throw on time with accuracy. And Lane will want the ball out quickly, but you do want the threat. It'll be a little different because he's not going to take you 80 yards. He's not going to run for 90 each week, but enough to where defenses can't focus in on one launch point, I guess is the easiest way. And launch point, for those who don't understand, is when we drive, is he dropping it back same place all the time where I can tee off. There's enough movement and athleticism for him to do what Lane does and play fast. And I think any quarterback would love it. They, like Tennessee, want to run 80 to 90 plays. I think he'd fit in fine. Great coaches don't adjust. Of course, the greatest coaches that we have in this league, the number one thing they do, they make sure their coaching staff and them adapt and adjust to the skill set. Because it sure wouldn't be smart to have Tom Brady run an RPO and be a run threat if you're New England in his day, right? You look around, Kurt Warner in his day. Now, when you get a guy like Warren Moon who could do both back in his day, or you get a guy in the NFL like Lamar now who's elevated, now it just increases. But you got to create the perception on defense. You better cover full field to defense. Also on the other side, just stay out of places that maybe a quarterback doesn't feel comfortable. That's the genius in a coach. We can all coach to a guy's strengths. Can you coach to his weakness and hide it, cover it, enhance it to make it a strength? DJ Lagway will fit in anyway. He ain't going to Army or Navy or Air Force, but he can fit in anywhere. It's just what you want to do. Lane knows this. The team that wins a national title will have played defense. The team that moving forward, going ahead, will have played defense, will have thrown the ball from the pocket on time with accuracy, and will have made a few plays when everything else breaks down that Lane can't teach, but the quarterbacks are skilled enough to do it. Lagway has the ability to do that. He just needs to stay healthy and get back to just being a football player. And Florida had a lot going on around them this year.
He just dropped out. All right, we'll grab our break and reconnect. I don't know what's going. Let's just go phone. I don't know what's going on with the internet today. We'll knock out a break. We'll continue with Sean Salisbury on AFR.
After further review.
Man, I had an awesome call today with Darren James. Agent225.com, agent225.com. As a matter of fact, I woke up this morning, honest goodness, true story. Woke up this morning like I do every day, 5:30. I go get my cold plunge and I check email when I'm sitting there for 6 minutes. And one of the first emails I had this morning was my market report that I get every week from Darren James. Every single week, I get a market report on what the real estate market in my area is doing from Darren James. Also, an up-to-date appraisal of my home's value. Agent225.com. The bottom line is, look, Darren has all of the systems in place to get your home sold faster for more money. And you're going to have an incredible experience with Darren James. He guarantees it. If you need to sell your home, you need the best. You need Darren James. Go to agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, we got Sean Salisbury with us as we roll along. Sean, one quick thought before we move on to the NFL. I wanted a quick follow-up. If I gave you the option, if you're just thinking about LSU, Lane Kiffin, quarterback, any of these are possible. Forget about the mechanics of how it would work. If you could have Chambliss or Simmons, one of the Ole Miss guys, Lagway, Sorsby from Cincinnati, Levitt from Arizona State, or other, Raiola from Nebraska. If you could pick one, who would be at the top of your list for LSU and Lane Kiffin?
I think that the biggest upside as far as if you're looking at a Saturday, Sunday, guys, Lagway. I'm not talking about production. I'm talking about moving forward and what I know about them. I think the safest for him is guys from his school. No change in the happen to learn a system. The verbiage rolls right from off your tongue into spring practice, and you can almost, as a quarterback, help coach on the field because you're not sitting there laboring over a new, more verbiage and something new. You can roll right into playing as far as instead of thinking. And I think the intriguing one for me is because I think he's Cincinnati. I love his face. Seems like whenever I get a guy coming out of Cincinnati, there's some fire in their belly. I like that. I heard the talk about possible Texas Tech playmaker. I get it. For me, the safest one, but I'm intrigued with Levitt. He was coached by a guy who understands spread it out and go do it. He elevated a team that really you wondered. I mean, nobody had them going to the playoff last year. Mm-hmm. I like the energy he brought to it as well, and I think he's got the ability to do both. I think that the thing is, are you looking for comfort level? That's your guys. Are you looking for upside? You think I can take him to a whole new level? I think that Levitt gives you a little bit of everything. And then, like I said, and I think he is a competitive sucker who's a really good player. I think he's got a chance if he elevates next year to be a first-round pick. The best thrower, pure thrower in my mind, is Lagway. I think a lot of the guys coming back to school are making the wise move that aren't ready for the NFL that people thought. But I don't think you go wrong. I think the comfort level, if you land one, and you know what? Maybe you want more than one. Then maybe that's the case. You may do that too. So, but if you're going after two big-time guys, you're not going to bring them both in because one's going to turn around and say, no, I'm going to leave again if I'm not starting. So Lagway as a thrower understands that conference. I'm probably most intrigued just on competitiveness and what he does with Levitt, but I think Lagway's the best pure thrower. But with Lane's system, anybody that's got a little more movement with an arm, the guys he just left are pretty good.
Yeah. Sean Salisbury's with us at Sean Unfiltered, where you get him on X. He's the National Football Director for the National Scouting Report, NSR, which is so cool to be able to talk about that good bit and obviously be able to tap into that expertise. Sean, as we turn the page, the New Orleans Saints win again. They beat Carolina 20-17, and Tyler Shough, when you had to have it for the second consecutive week in the fourth quarter, back-to-back scoring drives to tie it and then ultimately take the lead. It's something we've talked about almost every week here now since he's taken over, but what sort of development are you seeing from start 1 now to start 6 for Tyler Shough?
To me, his ability to process information pretty friggin' quickly is a good thing, and it's showing up. Look at the balance that they called plays with, run to pass, and that has a lot to do with making sure you're not always playing behind. His feet, I continue to say, are underrated. His ability to extend the play is underrated. You know, I know, and then to take the hit and have the fire and get your team a 19-yard gain to be in position to, to kick a shorter field goal to win. There's some guts about him, man. And I'm not saying other guys don't, but something's different. Most of all, he's winning. He's winning, and he's winning in competitive, tough situations when it's kind of stacked against him. As I may have mentioned, I think I did last week, but it bears mentioning again. The guy has played a lot of football. We shouldn't be shocked. I understand the Saints and the personnel, but you shouldn't be shocked about it. He's mentally tough enough to handle failure, which I love. Secondly, there's a propensity that he's taking a few more chances, but smart ones. And he's using both. He's not trying to do everything, and in the process, he's doing a lot. And he is, while not only responsible, because it's never that way, but if he doesn't get some clutch throws and make some big throws and hang in the pocket or escape when necessary, you're not winning these games. He's been a big reason why. You're not winning in spite of him. There's a big part of it that you're winning because of him. Mm-hmm. And this is a rookie, but he's a rookie, like prep school rookie. You know what I'm saying? With the extra years. Your prep school, maybe you went to prep school to get stuff. You needed another year. That's what it feels like because he's played a lot of football. So I don't think we should be shocked at his poise and the way he's handling things. And as I said last week, and we'll say again, if this ascent continues, right now, as we sit today, now maybe Mendoza, we got 1 year on Mendoza, right? One. Mm-hmm. Arch is going back. We already know that a couple of the other quarterbacks, the SC's quarterbacks, going back to school. The guys that have been held in pretty high regard. But is there a guy legitimately in this draft right now that you say, no-brainer, if I had the pick, I would take him over Shough right now? If he was in this draft class, he wouldn't be a mid-round pick. So I know he's been at a couple schools, but the poise and the processing of information and I'm judging him even harder and how he handles being thrown into what is a very tough situation with a lack of personnel that's getting better with him on the field. And it's like I said, everybody's not the same. They're not all getting trophies. And instead of not studying and preparing, he knew the time was going to present itself and he was ready. I don't know what that's going to mean, victories in the next few weeks. But if you're judging him harshly, you got to like the accuracy last week, getting better, big playability, shots on the deep ball where you just can't squeeze them. He will take his chances. But that's a guy who understands not only the limitations, but what he can do. And I got to believe that, I don't know what Kellen's saying locally on a regular basis, but I got to believe he enjoys the way they're doing it. Plus, the number one object, and I don't care how you do it, find ways, man. Find ways to win, find ways to keep moving, and find ways to keep the ball out of somebody else's hands. I would not. Now, Mendoza's a really good player. I mean, he is. But, I mean, do we know that year two is going to be as good in the NFL? What's he going to face? What's his toughness like when you're not winning every game? I mean, we saw that in a few games this year, but there's not one guy in the strike say, oh, head and shoulders, no way. He's so much better. And not Klubnik. I mean, we thought going in they would be. Sellers staying in school as well. Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you right now, I wouldn't waste a first-round pick on a quarterback if I'm sitting in the 4 or 5 hole. Meaning, don't just draft one because now the Saints know about that because they don't draft them high.
Right.
But don't just draft somebody because Well, the fan base wants you to. Shough's got another 3-4 games to finish strong and to post his score. And if he posts it like he has, I don't believe there's any way the Saints draft a quarterback with their first, with the first pick, whenever that comes, wherever they are in that draft.
Let me play devil's advocate. He started 6 games. They're averaging 16 points per game. Why should we be convinced about Tyler Shough when the Saints are only scoring 16 points a game with him as the quarterback over these 6 starts?
Well, I'm not, and you may not be convinced, but why wouldn't you be convinced with the personnel? I'm not so sure that personnel has 16 points in them on a regular basis. Okay,
it's so true.
I never. When I do this, isn't knee jerk. I'm talking about specifically for the Saints. What we've seen, if this ascent continues, meaning next week maybe it's 23. Next week, I mean, let's be fair. We even give quarterbacks. I mean, let's just use Baker Mayfield for an example. When they were all healthy and exploding and winning all the time, man, it's great they got weapons. We have created hall passes for guys. Yeah, but they're hurt. They're 2 running backs or 3 wide receivers hurt. Not just him, but we start to build in reasons why, well, the guy will be better. Now, I would ask you on the other side, let me play devil's advocate to your devil's advocate. If Shough had the Los Angeles Rams weapons, what's that look like to you?
Yeah.
16 points a game or 26 points a game?
Man, that's like you're speaking my language. It's like, go get this guy a legit number 1 and spend money in free agency on an interior offensive lineman. I mean, Sean, the Saints offensive line on Sunday committed 9 penalties, and he got sacked. And he got sacked 5 times.
And they still found a way to put it.
And they won the game.
So,
yeah.
And that's part of the evaluation, Matty, that I am. Like I said, if they're rolling along, okay, it's going for 270, and he's kicking butt and playing well, and I get it. But start to think now about securing the interior of the pocket and not letting the guy take all these hits. Not just the sacks, hits add up as well. And he keeps surviving it. No excuses. Keep playing and winning at a time against division teams that are fighting for winning a division. And he's keeping them in every game. Not just him. Of course, there's 11 cats out there. But like I said, I have never sell out to a guy who's given me 1 year or 6 starts. I'm just saying the ascent looks pretty impressive. So while somebody's giving me, but we're only averaging 16. Well, damn. To me, with Puka Nacua and 2 other receivers and an interior, and you've got Quentin Nelson or, guys like that in the prime of their career throwing off the interior, or a Lane Johnson on the edge blocking edge rushers. Now tell me what that looks like. Don't look at just the result of points when people are watching them. Look how they got there. Look at the fine things, not just to open up and there's not you, Matty, but stats.
Right.
Oh, yeah, we only scored 16 offensive points. We only scored 20, or we scored 18, or we scored 21. Start to look how you got there and what led up to that, and then say, okay, let me add a few new shiny objects to it. So that's what I want. I want to see the throw in traffic. Does he throw it on time? I want to see the deep ball. Does he fade him away from trouble? I want to see his decision-making when you're a decision-maker as a quarterback and you are playing against better teams and you're fighting for your football life, meaning your starting job, and he knows that they would consider drafting somebody. What do? We all grip it harder, it doesn't matter what sport it is or what job you're in. We try a little too hard instead of just allowing it still to be football, still to be 100 yards long, and throw on time and do those things and let it happen. And then when you need to force the issue, you do without putting your team in a bind. And overall, considering the circumstances, and think, what was he, the 40th pick, Matty?
Yep.
42nd pick?
40th, yep,
40th
40.
Okay, so what that tells me is with another coach in another situation, he could have been picked 10 picks earlier. He could have been picked 5 picks later. They draft him at 40, and this may end up being a bargain down the road. Still way too early in the infancy of it. That's why we can have this conversation at the end. But if you see what you see and it expands the next 3 or 4 weeks and season's over and they go into the offseason and you're saying, we need this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. Of all the weaknesses you have, is he the biggest weakness? And the answer is unequivocally no. That's how I would judge Shough. And I think that he has answered, at least initially, what it takes. And you haven't seen the game go south as we got into December.
Right.
You've seen it the other way, which tells me something.
Last thing for you. The Saints play the Jets this weekend in the Dome. And the Jets defensively have just been absolutely atrocious. but objectively, I'm looking at the Saints that are a 4-10 football team and not taking anything for granted. Given what you know about the Jets defensively, I mean, they went fire sale at the deadline with Gardner and Williams and Carter and everybody. But what do you look for the Saints offensively against this Jets defense on Sunday?
Listen, as long as you can, which has been difficult, with his decision making, you don't have to go to an inclement weather type game.
Right.
It is a pro football team, and we've had this conversation for a while. The Saints are going to play and then they beat Carolina. Oh, they're going to play, and then they beat this. So every week we have the conversation. Man, how the Colts can't compete with the Seahawks? They took them to a 50-some-yard field goal to win it with a 44-year-old quarterback. So who the hell knows? But I do know this, that if they will sew up and make sure, which was a perceived, that they had some players at least early in the season that could get to the quarterback, this defense is putrid. The Jets are packed and ready to go to the offseason. Make zero mistake. There'll be some leaders that try to keep them in it. I don't. And when's the last time you went into a game saying the Saints are better than the team they're playing? Not that they were going to beat them, but I'm just talking about pregame. I don't even know what this line is. The Saints have to be favored in this game.
4.5.
There you go. So, and that's like 27.5 in a game, because you're playing Tennessee Chattanooga if you're Ohio State or Alabama this weekend or LSU. So, and Tennessee Chattanooga may be good this year. I don't know what the record is.
I know what you mean.
You're right.
The mock's out here taking strays from Sean.
That's exactly right. No, then I'll go to Slippery Rock, but they were pretty good this year too.
Yeah.
So Bowling Green, whatever. But I listen. If you don't turn it over, and you play like you and you just keep them upright at times, just to limit the hits and some sacks, and he protects it, they'll beat the Jets. The Jets are they are a team that I do believe their engines are started in their vehicles. They are they are a bad football team with some good players, but I don't know how many of them are still all in. Boy, that team went south in a hurry with all the changes, and like you said, a fire sale defensively. Just keep him upright most of the time, and don't give the Jets a short field. And I think a little confidence carries over. I like the Saints in the game on just straight up, but I don't even have a problem with 4.5 points with them as a favorite. They're a better team than the Jets, and there's nothing that tells me the Jets I have zero confidence moving forward with the Jets. Not only this year, they got a lot to prove this offseason to prove that they even care. That's a bad football team.
He's Sean Salisbury, the host of Unpaved weekdays on YouTube. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. He's also the National Football Director for the National Scouting Report. He's on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. Man, we always appreciate it. Thanks for the time and the insight every week, man.
My pleasure, brother. Have a great one. Thank you.
You do the same. That's Sean Salisbury. It's AFR. We're brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows door siding. Oh, yeah. They do shutters, too, at Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. You ever, walk by a window when it's 27 degrees outside and you just feel all that cold air, the draft? That's because you have leaky air. You have leaky windows. It's air coming through right there because cracks and crevices, and those air leaks are costly. Think about your heater trying to work to keep your home warm, and you're constantly letting cool air in because of those leaky windows. You can fix that today forever with Relief Windows. And forever because at Relief Windows, you install once, you're done forever. They come with a lifetime transferable warranty on labor, material, and glass breakage. They're never going to be the cheapest. I say it every day. If you're just shopping, you're going to get quotes to see who's going to sell you windows the cheapest. That is not going to be Relief Windows. But you want the best product, the best service, a true lifetime transferable warranty that lasts. Remember what your mama told you when you were young. You get what you pay for. You do it right, you do it once, you're done forever. Relief Windows. ReliefWindows.com. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. Speaking of the draft, Mel Kiper has updated his big board. I do want to talk about a little bit what he's got for the LSU guys projected to this upcoming draft. Otter Locks in about 15 minutes. Stick around here on AFR.
After further review.
I want to take 60 seconds and remind you about Derek Duplessis, my friends over at Duplessis Builders. Great local company. Derek from Ascension Parish, went to LSU, degree in mechanical engineering, was working as an engineer. Sister wanted to build a pool. He said, I think I can do it. Studied, learned, built her pool, did 8 pools that first year. Now, boom, one of the fastest growing pool companies in the country, and voted this year by Pool & Spa Magazine as a top 50 pool builder in America. I could tell you about Derek, how great of a dude he is, how ethical a dude he is. That should speak to itself from the 12 Days of Christmas giveaway, the Dream Pool giveaway that he's doing with Dreams Come True Louisiana, the many different philanthropic ways he gives back. But most importantly, when we're talking about the work, a 10-year workmanship warranty. The industry standard is 1 year. Derek Duplessis gives you a 10-year workmanship warranty. Stands by the work they do. It's DuplessisBuilders.net. DuplessisBuilders.net.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Plowing these fields in the hot summer sun, over by the gate, Lordy.
All right, rolling along here. We'll get to Jimmy in about 10 minutes for Otter Locks. Muse will do the honors today. I got to jet to a Christmas party, so Muse will handle Otter Locks. Jimmy, we do have a bowl game tonight. It's there in Montgomery. It's Jacksonville State against Troy. The entire state of Alabama is going to be locked in. Okay, probably not. But if you love football and you're a degenerate gambler, you'll be locked in. What's that bowl called again tonight? Is it the Venture 68? Or is that the one 2 ULL's in? What's it called?
Let's see. I can get that for you right now. It is the Crampton Bowl.
That's not right.
Oh, sorry. That's where they're playing the game. It's the IS4S Salute to Veterans Bowl.
Salute to Veterans Bowl. That's it. Salute to Veterans Bowl. That's right. Salute to Veterans Bowl. And then the Venture 68 or whatever is the one that Cajuns are playing in against Delaware.
The Blue Hens.
That's tomorrow. Bowl season's here, y'all. I love it because it's football. It's football to watch and it's stuff to bet on. Mel Kiper's updated his big board. And if you're not familiar, it's the top. This isn't a mock draft. This is just rating the top 25 overall prospects and then the top 10 at each position. He's got Mansour Delane, number 23 overall. A lot of mock drafts have Delane higher, like going higher than this. And a lot of that is just because of the position he plays, right? If you're talking about an elite level corner, those tend to go high in the draft. Kiper's got Dante Moore, Fernando Mendoza, 1, 2, Jeremiah Love, 3, then Arvell Reese, the linebacker from Ohio State, 4. I'm going to tell you straight up, if Arvell Reese is on the board and the Saints have an opportunity to take him, I'd be over the moon. If Jordan Tyson, the wide receiver from Arizona State, was on the board when the Saints are picking, I'd be fired up. Same with Carnell Tate, Mekhi Lemon from Ohio State, USC, respectively. If you get an elite-level receiver, a dominant lockdown corner, or an edge rusher with your first pick, I'd be fired up. For whatever it's worth, Kiper does have Jermon McCoy, the cornerback from Tennessee, number 13 on his big board. Of course, McCoy's injured and didn't play this year, or has barely played this year. So he's got Kelly Jones from Mississippi State also out there. As far as quarterbacks, as far as the positional rankings, he's got Nuss as the 8th best quarterback in the draft. And it's pretty thin. None of LSU's receivers among the top 10. You'd have to go to none of the offensive linemen, naturally. A little surprised, though, Braylon Moore at center, if he does go into the draft, could project as one of the better centers in this draft. So we'll see how that may project. But defensively, I really thought you'd probably see a little bit of a heavier presence on the outside linebackers, the edge players, because of Harold Perkins, who he is just outside of the top 10 on outside linebackers, and some of the guys we've talked about, Patrick Payton, Jack Pyburn, those guys not in the top 10 positional rankings either. So it'll be, I think it'd be very interesting to see how many of those guys get picked and where, because my contention all along with this LSU team is that the biggest indictment on this team going 7-5 is going to come in April with the draft, because you're probably going to see double-digit guys drafted. I think it's just a matter of where they get picked. A.J. Halsey, by the way, he does have as the 8th best safety in this year's draft. So April's draft, but a lot of guys have a lot of opportunity between now and the April draft with the Combine, with Pro Day, with Senior Bowl, East-West Shrine Game, and we'll see how these guys do. The opportunity to go, get healthy, get prepped up, go to the go be workout warriors and see if you can answer some questions and pass a physical and a medical and get healthy and get ready for the draft in April. So we'll keep you posted as we move through all that for the LSU guys and, of course, what the Saints might be targeting as well. Man, I always love telling you about Evan Moore, and I say it every day, y'all, especially this time of year where When it's 27 degrees outside, you don't really get parched, but it's a reminder. It's why I love to carry a 64-ounce bottle of Evermore with me all day, because it's a reminder to drink water, to stay hydrated. If you're sick or feeling under the weather, or a great way to boost your immunity to prevent sickness is stay hydrated. You don't need to take my word for it. Ask any physician. Google it. Ask WebMD. Whatever. Stay hydrated. And Evermore is natural artesian water. It's a better form of hydration. It's an all-natural product, and it's a Louisiana product as well. So it's got national distribution, but it's a Louisiana product right there in Covington on the North Shore. So drink Evermore, EVAMOR, Evermore.com. Available at great local retailers or online at Evermore.com. You can find the retailer nearest you at Evermore.com. All right, it's after further review. If you missed anything, remember AFR On Demand, presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time at golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. Podcast, YouTube. You miss any of the show, you can find it. Real quick, before we break and get to Otter Locks, we talked plenty of portal quarterback stuff today. The other player that I think is really worth keeping an eye on is what happens with Kwan Lacey, the running back from Ole Miss. And I talked about him a day ago, but the more I keep, digging in over with people around Ole Miss, it sure sounds like Kwan Lacey and Kevin Smith are going to be a package deal wherever they go. And I don't think it necessarily means they stay at LSU or stay at Ole Miss or go to LSU. It could be anywhere. I think there's a really good chance that Kevin Smith and Kwan Lacey both end up at LSU. But Lacey was asked that point blank, is he following Lane Kiffin to LSU?
Kwan, so there was a video leaked out, some audio of Lane talking about you specifically, how you going to follow him to LSU. When you saw that come out, what was your response to it?
It was just a surprise. I just been keeping my mindset on just trying to go 1-0 and focus on the run we're having right now. So I don't get into all of that.
A very poorly worded question, which the better question would have been, are you following Lane Kiffin to LSU? Not what's your response to that? And it allows him the open door not to answer the question. But my initial thought when I saw that video, if you haven't heard it, you could find it anywhere. It's a recording of a cell phone call with what is purported to be Lane Kiffin, and I was told today that is 100% real. That is a real video that's leaked out where it sounds like Kiffin is saying that Kwan Lacey and Kevin Smith are coming to LSU. And I, by the way, do believe there's an overwhelming possibility that happens. And I think if I had to guess today, and again, like we talk about with coaching carousel and stuff all the time, if I had to guess today, I would tell you that I think Frank Wilson ends up at Ole Miss. I think basically Kevin Smith and Frank Wilson switch spots. I think Smith will be here and Frank Wilson will be at Ole Miss. And then the question becomes, if Kwan Lacey comes to Baton Rouge, does Harlan Berry follow Frank Wilson Ole Miss? I don't know the answer to any of those questions, by the way, but if you're not asking that question logically, then you're not asking the right question. So I just don't think that we're done seeing the roster and coaching and staff interchange there with LSU and Ole Miss. And I think there's a really good chance that we see Frank Wilson on peak holding staff at Ole Miss. We'll see what happens with Kwan Lacey and a lot of these guys still. All right, it's after further review. I'm actually getting out of here because I'm going to the Our Lady of the Lake Christmas party at Supper Club. So you can't go to Supper Club tonight because we got the Our Lady of the Lake Christmas party over there tonight. But I would highly recommend any other night that they're open that you make your way to Supper Club because it is divine. I am really looking forward to getting over there tonight, having a glass of wine, maybe whiskey, and eating some delicious food and celebrating the holidays and the Christmas season with amazing people. SupperClubBTR.com. SupperClubBTR.com is where you can book your reservations. Small group. The private room is available. A dozen people or so. Actually, I think we went there for my birthday a year ago, and I think 15, 16 people in there. You can fit a good number of people there in the private room there at Supper Club as well. But no matter where you sit, no matter what you eat, it's going to be the best dining experience you've ever had. Right there on Perkins Road in Baton Rouge near Bluebonnet, SupperClubBTR.com for your reservation, SupperClubBTR.com. And get by, whatever you do before Christmas, get by, even if you just walk in, have a cocktail or a glass of wine at the bar, so you can see all the beautiful Christmas decor, take some photos in there as well here this Christmas season. It's Supper Club, SupperClubBTR.com. All right, y'all, it's after further review. We'll knock out our quick break. Muse will handle Otter Locks to wrap up the show. Next on AFR.
AFR.
But first, I do have to remind you about Rev. R-E-V. Let'sRev.com, Let'sRev.com, Let'sRev.com. There's a lot of reasons to work with Rev. No matter who is your current internet service provider, who currently handles your cable, your home security, your home automation, all that sort of stuff, there's a lot of reasons to switch to Rev. First of all, we're talking about faster internet speeds, up to 5 gigs. This is faster, more reliable internet. Who doesn't want that? The Wi-Fi equipment is included at no additional cost with Rev. There are no long-term contracts with Rev. There's no unexpected price increases after your promotional period ends. The price is the price with Rev. There's no data caps. There's no hidden bandwidth overage charges, and it's 100% local service and support with Rev. R-E-V. TV, phone, security, home automation, high-speed internet. What are you waiting for? Time to switch is today. R-E-V. Let'sRev.com.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, closing up shop here, a Tuesday edition of AFR presented by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. We'll wrap it up with the final thing to do. Find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Auto Locks.
Auto Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance AC Repair. Same-day service means you will never sleep hot. 480-1000. We are Total Maintenance.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
All right, we got plenty to pick from tonight. Otter, how are you?
Good, Matt. How about you, buddy?
I'm doing well. We got some bowl games. We got NBA. We got college basketball. What are we looking at?
Let's start off with the NBA on Prime tonight, and the San Antonio Spurs upset the Oklahoma City Thunder as like 9-point underdogs, and beat them for 24-1 before that game. I thought it was an easy route for them to the championship. But anyway, on Saturday night they pulled the upset, and Wembanyama had 20 minutes. Played 20 minutes. So doing a minutes restriction. He had 20. He was a plus 21 plus minus. So it was the largest in the. It was the largest in the game. So he made a big difference. But to do that again, he's still on his minutes restriction. He's going to play about 20 to 25 minutes again, only half the time. I don't think that's going to be enough. We're going to take the Knicks minus 2.5. You know the team is motivated tonight in Las Vegas. So the Knicks minus 2.5. Got an adjustment in the college basketball move. So Tennessee, we gave out to Hunt earlier today at minus 2.5. It's at 4.5 right now at DraftKings. So you hadn't gotten on it now, I wouldn't do it at this point. But again, I mean, 2 points in a college basketball game's a lot. So pays to be on those alerts for LouisianaSports.net. Clemson is a team that we've been backing. They've been cashing tickets as well. Lost a couple of tough ones, man, on the road. One of those in Tuscaloosa, as part of the ACC-SEC Challenge, and also, but they're a good team now. Rivalry game at home against South Carolina. Look for Clemson to roll minus a 12.5. And we have one add-on that we did not include in the on the website of LouisianaSports.net. That's the bowl game tonight. We're going to take Troy. These are two teams that were runners-up, so lost their conference championship game. Jacksonville State got scored on a last minute by Kennesaw State. And Troy had to go to James Madison. And as a big dog, they covered and were way more competitive than a lot of people thought. It was a 3-point game going into the fourth quarter. So we're going to take the Troy State team tonight, plus the 3 now at DraftKings.
The battle for Alabama in Alabama, the Salute to Veterans Bowl. Troy and Jacksonville State. It's
all in the family.
So we've been saying all week, Otto. That's the game everyone's looking forward to over there in Alabama. Nothing going on Friday. Where are y'all tomorrow?
Tomorrow we're at Iverstein Butcher on Perkins near Star and get you ready for your holiday food. So looking forward to that.
Join Otter and Hanny over there live at lunch, 11 to 1 here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Otter, we appreciate it as always. Thank you and good luck.
All right, good luck, buddy.
That is Jimmy Ott. This is After Further Review. Wrapping up here on a Tuesday show presented by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Just a quick recap there of Otter's picks. The add-on of the bowl game that you've just heard, taking Troy plus the 3 over Jacksonville State. He's also on the Knicks in the association, minus 2.5 against the San Antonio Spurs. Gave out the Tennessee Volunteers minus 2.5 earlier on the website. That is up to 4.5 now. Otter said, probably stay away if you didn't get on it earlier. Remember, all chalk early, dogs late, as Otter always says. And then Clemson minus the 12.5 in college basketball as well. Those are your Tuesday Otter locks. That's just about going to wrap it up for us here. Thank you to Shea Dixon. Thank you to Eddie Radosevich. Of course, Sean Salisbury for 2 segments with us in the 5 o'clock hour. Great insight as always from those three. We'll take a closer look at the Jets tomorrow and check in on Texas A&M as they prepare for the college football playoff. That's just about going to send us in. Thanks for tuning in. Y'all be here again on Wednesday.
AFR.
Quick reminder about Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. They're the best. If you are, gentlemen, thinking about popping the question and you're thinking about where am I going to go buy that diamond, I want you to consider this. There are places that will sell you man-made lab diamonds, but what are you buying? It's according to its makeup and characteristics, sure, diamond. But is it going to hold its value? Like, is that the way you want to say, I love you, I want to spend the rest of my life with you? Go to Lee Michaels. Go to Lee Michaels. Walk in the door. Experience the thing I talk about all the time, which is the Lee Michaels experience. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry with 10 locations. Baton Rouge, 2 locations in Baton Rouge. New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, Mississippi, Texas as well. 10 locations across 3 states. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Thrill her, gentlemen. Thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry.